Maker.com. Today we're going to talk about a rarity in our company. It's jamming at the hot end. As you can see up here, we have two filament tubes that come off the extruders that come down to a 2-to-1 hot end. Two filaments come in from left and right and come out one nozzle. What can happen, especially on an older version of our machine, an older as in time, you might leave filament inside the tube over the summer months, winter months, some period of time while you're on vacation, and the filament can swell up from water. And if it does that, it can get stuck in here. And the way you know that is when you manually turn this knob that you cannot feed filament through there. That's the exact same problem we had right here. I pulled this filament out, and then I put more filament in here, and it just simply comes down here and stops. It will never extrude out. I've turned the temperature up to 245 degrees. I've done all kinds of simple things to try to clear what seems to be a jam. So let's get right into this. We're going to need a couple tools. We need a 10mm wrench. We're going to need needle nose pliers. We may need some cutters. I've already got my filament out. I'm going to come over to my control panel. Your control panel may vary. I'm going to hit the temperature button. I'm going to move the temperature up to 230 degrees because I'm using PLA in this machine. 230. I'm going to wait for that temperature to go from its 90 something on up. I just had this printer warmed up when I broke the filament and pulled that out. It's moving pretty quick. What we're going to want to do, since we've got our filament out of here, I'm going to press down on this little black connector right here and pull that tube out. Your tube may come out easier or harder. If it's coming out very tough, you may have to twist it a little bit because it might have a burr right here from years and years of printing. We supply an extra one of these in the toolkit when you buy our maintenance kit as in purchase, or you can buy a maintenance kit online. This is a consumable, and if this gets a burr down on there, you may find it difficult to get it off that connector. In that case, you just need to replace the tube. I'm going to pull that off. I'm going to take my wrench. I'm going to start turning this off, being careful not to get my wrench into that fan. If you break that fan blade off, you can buy another one from us. It just simply plugs in. So be cautious. I pulled this connector out. It may be difficult to see, but there's a 20mm tube down in there. I'm going to reach down in there and pull it out. Inside your toolkit, there's a minimum of 4 of these in every toolkit we've ever shipped. You can see that is not coming out very easy. Now if you look, you can see that yellow filament right there. Oh, look at that. That came out pretty easy. That filament was broken off because it got moisture in it and it swelled up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at this tube and make sure a piece of my good filament will go through that. Now because I know this has some moisture in it, I'm going to pull a couple feet off and cut it and then make sure it bends. If it bends, that's good. If it snaps off or turns white, that means it has water in it. I'm going to make sure that that tube lets that, yep, if it goes right in there, no problem. So I know this tube is still good. I'll put my filament back in this hole so it doesn't get all strange. So I'm going to put this tube back in. We have essentially cleared the clog because the clog was a broken piece of filament. Now, if you pull this tube out and there's absolutely nothing in it, you need to look down in that chamber and take your needle nose pliers and pull out whatever is stuck down in there, which is going to be a piece of filament. In my case right here, there is nothing in the way. I'm going to push this back in here. Now you need to remember this is hot. That's why they call it a hot end. I'm going to take this connector, line it up, and screw that right back in. And as you're putting it in there, you're going to notice it's going to get a little bit firmer because it's going to get on that tube. Then you just take your wrench, 10mm wrench, and turn this in the rest of the way. Snug it, monkey tight, not gorilla tight. Now I'm going to take my extruder tube and push it down in there till it stops. I have cleared my jam. Now I'm going to feed my filament back in. I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut that knot off because I don't like how I bent it. I'm going to cut that at a slight angle. We have other videos on putting your filament in. Stick that up on the hole on the left side. I'm going to turn this counterclockwise, but I'm going to straighten that out a little bit. That was binding on me. I had a little bit of trouble getting past this connector, but it popped right through. So I'm going to push this all the way through counterclockwise until I see that yellow come all the way down to the hot end. These tubes are 800mm long. Several turns. And it's went down through the tube into the hot end, and now you can see filament coming out of the hot end. Turns very easily. I'm not going to touch that because it's going to be hot. I'm going to take my pliers and pull that off. I pushed a little bit through to purge out the old plastic. I've successfully cleared a jam in my hot end. Doesn't matter which version of Gorilla Maker printers you have. It has a 2-to-1. That's exactly how you change it. If it's a single nozzle unit, you'd be doing the same thing, just to one side. I'm Glenn Warner, GorillaMaker.com. Watch other videos we have on how to maintain your machine.